Each file has a .fc std. Well, that's the first time I looked really carefully at that. Moving on. Hello world, welcome back. I'm back, you're back, we're back to back. I've been busy editing my most recent video, which I already posted the article for on my website. You can go to it at roboticsforbeginners.com and go to the blog section. You'll see an article titled 5 Things I Learned My First Week of FreeCAD. It's going to help to get you rolling if you've never had experience in FreeCAD or CAD design in general. I can't even do basic math most of the time. I think it's really gonna help a lot of people out because once you open up these programs for the first time, like if you've ever tried to open up Blender, you're gonna be very, very confused and a little frustrated and lost. So what I wanted to do today is show you the basic process in FreeCAD in getting a part sketched out and then bringing that into the 3D space and then eventually printing it out onto a printer. It's just gonna be a quick video. Let's go check it out. So here you have your basic workbench at the top in the middle and it just says start. You can start from here if you want. There's all these other workbenches in here and these are going to have the tools and the coding behind it to allow you to do certain jobs that you want to do. So what we're going to do in our fresh new document is we're going to create a new part. The part is basically the overall object that you're trying to make. If you were going to make a case with a lid on top of it, you would have basically one part. You could do 2 separate documents if you wanted. You could do the same thing in one document with one part. So the overall thing all together is one part. So we're gonna go ahead and click on create a new part and make it active. After that, we're gonna give it a body. So I'm gonna go down to part design and I'm gonna click to give it a body. And then that gives an actual body. So if you're doing a case and a lid separately, but in the same document, in the same part, you could have 2 different bodies. So the body is basically the different sections, the different parts of your design. So the lid would be one part and the body would be another part. We don't call them parts in FreeCAD, from what I've seen. We call them bodies. So you just have to get used to these terms. And then after we create a body for our box that we're gonna make, we create a sketch. Everything you do is going to come from a 2D sketch originally, and you're going to build up and out from there. So it's going to ask you which plane you're going to want to design from, and I just choose the XY plane just to be, simple. It says plane face here. You can also say objects XY. It's the same thing. You can also click on it. All right, so I clicked OK, and now we have the center, and you'll see up here in the top right, it says top. Here's where we can start making a sketch. And if we wanted to make an oval design, we'd use one of these. We can make more of a rectangular design. There's a circular design if you want to make a tube or something like that. So it's good to be familiar with what you have available. So let's go ahead and use the basic rectangular sketch. So I click on it and I just give, roughly over top of this here, and I click again, and then we have a rectangle. The problem is it needs to be constrained. It needs to be more accurate and more specific, and we can use this middle point, which is exactly in the middle of our top view. We can use that as a reference point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some constraints, and the constraints are basically the measurements that you want for the overall sketch. So I'll go over here and I'll select this one. It's the the vertical distance, and you can go ahead and click this cancel here. So now the sketch drawing rectangular thing is gone. Now I'm going to add the constraints. You can either select the 2 points just by clicking on them like that and then adding it, or you can click on the constraint first and then select what you want to constrain. Okay, so you see it automatically added it right there. And you can see I'm working in millimeters. That'll be in your settings up in here. Don't worry about it for now. And you can always go in here and, change the type of measurement. And you could also give a name to this side. So I could just say, say width, like that. And we'll say, if we're gonna 3D print something, let's give it, 50 millimeters. So mine's by default millimeters. There's 50 millimeters right there. And then we want to constrain the other side. So I'll show you the other way, where you click on the constrained thing first, and then you click the 2 points. Boom, just like that. And let's make it a little bit longer. Let's say 100. And then we'll say length. Again, you don't have to name these, it's optional, but it really makes it easier down the road if you're doing some complicated stuff. So you'll immediately notice that I have the correct length and width. However, it's not constrained to a middle point. And there's a really easy way to do it. If you're working with circles, there's gonna be a different way you're gonna do it. And you'll notice that these lines mean that they are similar. So I'm gonna cancel out of this type of constraint, and then I'm gonna click this point, and this point, and the middle point. And then I'm going to say, create a symmetry. Boom. Do you see that? So I use this little symmetry thing, put this and this exactly the same distance from this point. It's that easy. It's all about learning the process. And then on the left side, you'll see it says fully constrained sketch. That's good. If it's not working, you can click update. You can also hit F5 to recompile your sketch. And then if we're done and we're ready to build off of here and just make a basic box, we're gonna click close. Boom, there it is. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, where am I? I need the top view. Boom, just like that. Pretty cool, huh? We have our document, we have our part, we have our body, and we have our sketch. This can get really confusing. You need to make sure that you go really slow. If something's not working, try to reset, save what you have, close it, reopen it, and sometimes it's an issue where you've accidentally made something else active instead of the part. This check mark, I believe, means it's active. So we have our body, we have our sketch, and from our sketch, we're in part design workbench. So remember that, we're in part design. We have all these options right here. These are all different things you can do to make this a 3D object. So first, what we're gonna do is we're gonna pad the sketch. You'll notice I have this right here. So we're gonna pad it. So that's gonna bring it up into the 3D realm. And let's give it, I don't know, 25 millimeters high. And you can reverse that to make it go the other way down. And that comes in handy when you're matching different faces of things together. For now, I'll just leave it as it is. You have some different kinds of options here that you really don't need for now. And I'll click OK. Check it out. We just made a 3D object. Now, what good is this 3D object? Not very good. It's a solid block, and nobody wants to print a solid block unless you need like a door jamb or something. Let's make a hole inside of it. So to do that, I'm gonna click on the pad. I'm gonna click a face that I want. So we're in the front right here, right? I wanna drill a hole right through the top, all the way through. So I click the face of the top, and then I'm going to make a sketch. So I go over here, create a new sketch, and then I'm going to go here. So I'm in the Sketcher workbench right now, and I'm going to click on create a circle. Now it's going to branch out, it's going to expand from the point that I select, and I want it right in the middle just to make it easy. So I click the middle, and then I just move my mouse in and out like that. Let's make a huge one. There you go. That's a big hole. All right, so now we have our circle, but we need to constrain our sketch just like last time. So we're gonna go into here, this double caret here, and it brings down a few more options. And you have some options when constraining a circle. You can constrain the radius or the diameter. It's just whatever you're measuring in. It doesn't matter, it's your choice. So I'm just gonna do radius, and then I'm gonna click the outside of the circle. Boom. And let's give it a radius of 25 millimeters again. And let's give it a name. Let's say the hole. Boom. Ah, it's too big. What do I do? The good news is you can double click and you can edit it just like that. 20 millimeters. That's a little more reasonable. And you'll see it's all green. We have the green light over here and over here. It's fully constrained. You can also drag this and put it wherever you want. So the R 20 millimeters means the radius is constrained to 20 millimeters. All right, so we're good to go. We're ready to drill a hole. So I'm going to close out the sketch, and it's selected right there. So take a look at the left side. You'll notice how it looks right there. This is how it should look and these are the things how they should be highlighted when you're ready to drill a hole. There's two different ways to do it. There's hole right here, create a hole with the selected sketch. There's also create a pocket. Now there's many different ways to do the same thing in FreeCAD, and that's a good thing, okay? That's gonna make your life a lot easier. Familiar with Blender or any sort of 3D modeling program, you'll know that there's different ways to do the same thing. It's just whatever works for you. I like to go with create a pocket. I like the name pocket. It sounds cooler than create a circle. All right, so then we have our pocket ready to be drilled right into that sketch that we designed. Now I'm going to want to select on the left side here in our parameters through all. So I want it to go all the way through. If I don't do that, then it's not going to go all the way through. It's going to start at one face and then it's going to make the hole in one direction. I'll show you what that looks like in a second. First, we're going to drill through all, and then I'm going to say okay. Boom. We now have a hole right down the middle, and that's normal to have that line there. That's just the way the program works. You'll find that out later. From what I've seen, it looks like it'll take the way the math does it, it takes like a line, and then it'll create an arc, and it'll do like a Boolean operation where it subtracts from that. I don't know. It's just the way it seems to work, and I don't know. It's very cool. I like it. All right, so here we have our circle drilled all the way through, and you could 3D print that. If you saved it, you would select the pocket, I believe. That's like the finished product is, you know, the pocket. And then you'd go to here, and then you'd say export. And when you export it, you'd save it as an STL file, and then you'd go and print it on your printer. It's that easy. What if I went in here and the pocket I didn't want it to go all the way through. You see that? That's what it's gonna drill. What if I said I wanted it to be on one side and I wanted it to be 5 millimeters. So it's all default 5 millimeters. I'll show you what happens when you don't make it go all the way through. Boom. So I clicked OK, and look at that. It's only 5 millimeters deep. That's how simple this is. All right. So now what if I went back in, double click that, and let's say I made it 8 millimeters. All right. Boom. Now you'll notice it's a little bit deeper. If we have like a 25 millimeter deep sketch, we have a 25 millimeter deep part here, this body. If I do 25 millimeters, it's gonna go all the way through. If I do 24, you see that? It's all the way down, except it doesn't go all the way through. So that'll come in handy for, you know, certain things. Like if you wanted to put a peg inside of that hole, that's what you would be doing. And there's some other stuff that you need to do to make sure that the wall on the bottom is thick enough. Let me show you what happens if you reverse it. So if you remember, we have the sketch going that way, the hole's going that way. And if you reverse it, you guessed it. Look at that. So it started right here and it went the opposite direction. So it ended up not really doing anything. I mean, it just got like this line right there. If you printed that, you might get a little weird imprint right there, a little marking, and it might not be too pretty. All right, so reverting back to our original decision, there is your pocket into your square hole. And that's pretty much the basic idea of FreeCAD. Is you have these workbenches that I'm gonna cover in the next video. I'm not gonna go too into detail. It's not really a tutorial. I just wanted you to be familiar with the overall process of creating a part. And like I said, if you wanted to put like, you know, you could make another sketch, and then you could make another body, not another part, another body that you would be able to fit inside of here. And it's all a matter of math and measurements and constraints. And then you could export the individual files as their separate STL files. So you could print the two so that you could put them together after you've printed them. That's pretty much all you need to get started. I hope this was helpful for you, and I'm going to be busy editing the next video, which goes a little more in depth into the 5 things that I noticed that I had learned in my first week of FreeCAD. And I hope that really gets you rolling and gives you the confidence that you need to start bringing your designs into the 3D world. And the best part about it, it's free. So go ahead and download it. Until next time, stay grounded.